Today's day 6, and we're going to talk about building a strong online presence. If you're new here, my name is Julie, and this is the Confident CEO journey for 30 days. I am talking about all of the different components that will help you become more of a confident CEO for your life and business. And by the way, make sure that when you are doing this type of thing, that your mic is not like wonky. Okay. But I digress. And if you're listening on the podcast and you're not sure what I'm talking about, go to YouTube and you'll see my mic going every which way. Oh, not cooperating. Am I going to have to hold this? Perhaps. All right. I wish I knew how to edit a video because then this would be like ding, take two, but we're going to keep going. All right. I have a client, and one of the things that we were working on is actually creating that online personal presence. She is very clear on her branding, what her personal values and brand are. And honestly, if you look at her stuff across the board, you can't mistake, but that's her stuff. Um, so, as we were working together, one of the things that she was working on doing was becoming more consistent at showing up online. And I challenged her to be consistent with social media, to be consistent with the places so that when people found her or looked for that guide, right? Like we talked about in personal branding before, that they would find her, that they would find her to be the person that helped them achieve the result that that particular client was looking for. I hope you're following. Okay. If not, go to the last episode, go to day 5. Now, as she began to put herself out on social media, and by the way, she is in all the different platforms, she was not getting any traction. And she was very frustrated, but she was at first very proud that she was like consistently posting on Instagram, going on TikTok, being on Facebook, and just really even consistently sending emails to her list. Now, the next thing you know is I asked her, I said, hey, let's look at what is happening with your messaging. What is happening with the post? And the first thing that I found, oh, I knocked my microphone again. The next thing I found is that the post did not sound like her. Now, mind you, I know her. I've been working with her for some time now. And when you speak to her, you get a sense of this warm friend that is going to envelop you and is there to support you and fight for you. And yet, the social media posts were very sterile. Ooh. And, sounded kind of like cheerleader like, but yet not in a good way. Not that there's anything wrong with cheerleaders because, I mean, I was a cheerleader in ninth grade. So, but I digress. So let's talk about why an online presence is important in today's market. Number one reason is trust, trust, trust. I have to tell you, when I look for a service or I'm looking to work with someone, the first thing I'm going to see is their brand and are they online? I don't ever go to a restaurant if they don't have any reviews. If they don't have a website, forget it. And perhaps I am missing out on really good stuff. But the reality is that I want the proof that they have a consistent um, service. They have a consistent offer. I also want to see, what do they stand for? What do they talk about? What is the thing, right? And online, in a world where there is so much going on, yes, it is important to be able to have a presence, but be intentional as you create a presence. When I first launched my business in 2020, I've been an early adopter to social media. So I was in all the social media platforms, but I realized that I needed to be intentional. And the first thing that I chose is that I was not going to be everywhere, although I had accounts on all of the social media accounts. One is I was going to get a website because that's kind of like my business card online. That would be my landing place, and it would allow me to collect email addresses and bring people into my universe. Number one. Number two, I also knew that I've been on Facebook since 2008, and that's where most of my friends hang out, and my mom and everyone is there. But I also knew that I needed to learn other platforms. Now, LinkedIn, of course, I've been in. However, because I was exploring this new entrepreneur online, I figure I would really get good at Instagram. Now, I really have invested time into Instagram. And yes, I don't have a gazillion followers. That's not what I'm going for. I am going for an intentional, consistent presence. And I double down on spending time on Instagram. Once I got that down, I decided to move to the next place and I branched out to, well, Pinterest. Why Pinterest? Mainly because, well, it's a great search engine for people. It's a good way for people to find you if they're looking for how to build a business. Well, I have a blog on that. Or how to create habits that make you more confident. I have a blog on that. So Pinterest is really good because is that search engine. And ultimately, I'd only been using Pinterest to create boards like crafts I'll never make or, curate a nice menu for my next soiree at our house. So that is one of the things that I started to do is really be able to start to, number one, find out where my ideal client or that hero that I'm going to guide in their hero's journey was hanging out. And then I started to create that consistent presence. Right now, if you want to look for me, you can go to Julie DeLucca-Collins and you'll find me Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You'll also find my blog. You'll find my website. You'll find podcasts that I've been a guest in. And all of this didn't happen overnight. I picked one. I did it intentionally. I went after that. There's so many different things that we can choose from that it can become very overwhelming. Now, I want to encourage you to pick the place where you feel comfortable, where you know your people are hanging out, and start to get really good in that platform. Get really, really good. Now, once you have automated processes, once you are really consistently showing up, creating content that is valuable, not just content for content's sake, but valuable content, then it's time to move to the next one and the next one. The thing that people really don't understand is that our brand presence, our online footprint really helps to build trust. I was working with someone who is a local entrepreneur and he has a service here, and I hired him because although he had a very minimal website and not a lot of reviews, I really liked his online presence in the local town Facebook group. Hmm. He is doing advertising on Google. He's building different ways to expand his digital presence. But what made me trust him and hire him is that he told me how he was going to solve my problem. He also understood what my problem is. And he was quick to create a relationship. When I asked for help in the Facebook group for my town, he immediately said, "Hey, I this is what I do. What are you looking for? How can I help you?" And we created a dialogue. So creating an online presence is not just slapping together a post and putting it out there. It's really about that intentionality. Now, when you choose the platform, you want to optimize your profiles. You want to make sure that, for instance, in the cover art that your Facebook or your LinkedIn or your YouTube, it's branded to you. There is nothing sadder for me than when I go into LinkedIn to look somebody up and maybe they have a really great profile picture, but then that cover art is blank. That is like a billboard people are not using. So make sure that your optimization for your profiles is really on point because that's what's going to make you visible. You don't have to have perfectly curated stuff because people are looking for authenticity, but really do leverage the places where you can have your website or you can have maybe testimonials or you can create that story of how you help individuals. Um, Very, very key. I also want you to test because as an entrepreneur, testing is part of the process. When you start to show up online, when you start to put blogs or podcast or you're a guest on other people's podcast or you're building a website, double check. Are people tuning in? Are people clicking? This is where your call to actions become important. And as we talked about last show, your call to action are your plots in that story brand, right? What are you telling people you can do for them? Join me, sign up here, check this out, tell me what you think. Download the thing. Very, very key. Now, all of these social media platforms, again, will help you create a strong presence. But the most important thing you can do is always from the online presence, create the human connection. As humans, we crave that. And although there's so much convenience about being able to connect with someone on Zoom and message back and forth, nothing is ever going to replace being able to get to know someone more face to face. And again, it may not be feasible that you meet for coffee at the local Starbucks, but it could be feasible that you invite them for a coffee chat over Zoom, right? Now, let's go back to my client and find out why, even though she was showing up consistently and putting her stuff everywhere, her message was not resonating. Well, come to find out, she was using our friend ChatGPT. And no, there isn't anything wrong with having some tools to help you create content. But when you solely use that and you don't have that voice and you're sounding more like a generic AI tool than the real person, people are not going to resonate with that. So, as you're building that strong online presence, again, choose where you're going to show up. Where are your people hanging out so you can choose where you're going to show up? Find these key platforms and choose and go all in. And by the way, create a plan in advance because if you're deciding in the morning, this is what I'm going to say in my blog, or this is what I'm going to show up talking about, and then life happens and you're not scheduling these things, it becomes very taxing. Plan it in advance, batch your content, and then ask people for feedback. Hey, what did you think about this? What did you know? Did you see that last thing I shared? When I started to work on my book in the very beginning, and I started to kind of hone in on my message, I asked a lot of people for feedback. And the more that I talked to my people, the more that my message became honed in and also started to be consistent online. So much to unpack, but remember to keep it fresh. Remember to be responsive, be transparent as well, because all of these things are the ones that will keep you from actually being well and successful, well versed. Also, offer value. Just don't post for the sake of posting and build trust. Trust is that really ingredient that you cannot make this cake without. Conversations is what we're going for, not just followers. Followers are not your clients. People that see you online are in the very beginning, in the very top of the funnel, or what you call an attraction phase. Maybe you're engaging them, but that's what an online presence is something that will allow you to attract, engage, nurture, invite people to work with you, and ultimately make them super fans, like Pat Flynn says. So we've unpacked a lot. I would love for you to tell me, where are you showing up online, or what do you struggle with when it actually comes to being someone that has a strong online presence? Okay. So this is day 6. Day 6. And this is the Confident CEO journey. There's 30 days of these. I really would love for you to subscribe and share this episode because I want to start a conversation. Is this resonating and is this helpful? If you're listening on the podcast, you know what to do. Also share, subscribe, leave us a review, and share the episode with an entrepreneur or friend in your life who you know will need to hear this. And this content will help them get to the next level. And again, don't compare and despair. Go to the online presence that makes the most sense to you. And once you are confident in that one, you can start to replicate and branch out. So, until next time, thank you for tuning in, my friends. And don't forget, go confidently in the direction of your dreams.
Hi, everybody. I know that sometimes we get very lonely in this entrepreneur journey, and I want to invite you to join us into our limited time only Purposeful You Mastermind. For many of us entrepreneurs, we believe that we can do it all. But the reality is that doing it alone only creates a lot of overwhelm. So join us at the Purposeful You Mastermind. You can find out more information by going to bit.ly/Julie's Mastermind. This is going to be the place where you are able to then unlock your full potential and achieve long-term success for your business. Push you behind your current limits, expand your connections, discover new ideas, and implement them with confidence. You're going to get the support in all aspects and transforming you to the six-figure business you've been looking for. Pause and get off the hamster wheel if you've been spinning around. This is a time where you can get that support from like-minded entrepreneurs that are here to join you in your journey. Together, we can challenge the assumptions and land the speaking engagements and opportunities we want to grow our business and make an impact in the lives of people. See you then. Remember, you can find the mastermind at bit.ly, Julie's Mastermind.